The person you cannot stop thinking about may not be the person you miss. They may be the part of yourself that is still waiting to be healed. Listen to that carefully, because it changes everything. Sometimes, a name returns to your mind for no visible reason. You are doing something ordinary, folding clothes, sitting in traffic, making tea, looking at your phone, and suddenly their face appears inside you like a door opening in a quiet room. You did not invite the memory. You were not searching for it. You may have tried to forget it. And yet, there it is, alive, familiar, and strangely powerful. At first, you may call it overthinking. You may tell yourself, I should have moved on by now. You may even feel embarrassed by how often this person returns to your awareness. But from a deeper spiritual perspective, repeated thoughts are not always meaningless. They can be messages from the inner self. They can be fragments of unfinished emotion. They can be invitations from the soul, gently asking you to look at something you have been avoiding. And this is where many people misunderstand the experience. They assume that constantly thinking about someone means they must contact them, return to them, chase them, or wait for them. But often, the soul is not telling you to go backward. It is asking you to go inward. The person may only be the symbol. The real message may be hidden inside you. There are people who enter our lives like passing weather. They come, they go, and after some time, their memory becomes soft and distant. But then there are others who do not pass through us lightly. They leave fingerprints on the soul. They awaken something. They disturb something. They show us a wound we did not know was still open. They reveal our longing, our fear, our devotion, our need to be chosen, our difficulty letting go. And once a person has touched that hidden place inside you, the mind may continue returning to them, not because they are your destiny, but because they became part of your awakening. Stay with this, because near the end, you will understand why some people come back into your thoughts right before a major inner shift, and why the memory that once felt like pain may actually become the doorway to your freedom. From a spiritual point of view, the soul is much older than the story we are living right now. We come into this world with a personality, a name, a body, a history, but beneath all of that, there is something ancient watching, learning, remembering. Many spiritual traditions believe that the soul carries impressions from experiences, relationships, choices, and lessons. Whether you understand this through past lives, soul contracts, karmic lessons, or emotional memory, the message is the same. Certain connections are not ordinary. Some people feel familiar from the first moment. You look into their eyes and something inside you becomes quiet, as if it recognizes them before your mind has time to explain why. Their presence may feel strangely safe, strangely intense, or strangely unsettling. You may think, I barely know this person, so why do they feel so important? Why does their energy feel like a memory? This kind of recognition does not always mean romance. It does not always mean forever. It simply means that the connection has touched a deeper layer of your being. Sometimes a soul enters your life to love you. Sometimes to teach you. Sometimes to mirror your wounds. Sometimes to wake you up. Sometimes to show you what you must never abandon in yourself again. And that is why the thought keeps returning. Not always because the person is thinking about you. Not always because you are meant to reunite. Not always because the universe is telling you to run after them. Sometimes the thought returns because the lesson has not yet been fully received. So when their name enters your mind, do not rush to interpret it. Do not immediately turn it into a story. Become still. Ask yourself, what emotion came with this memory? Did their face arrive with peace? Did it bring warmth, tenderness, and gratitude? If so, the soul may simply be honoring a real connection. It may be remembering a chapter that shaped you. It may be saying, this mattered, this changed me, this love was not wasted. But if the thought arrives with tightness in the chest, with longing, guilt, anger, anxiety, or restlessness, then the message is different. The soul may be pointing toward unfinished healing. It may be saying, "Look here, this is where your energy is still tied. This is where you are still waiting. This is where you still need to forgive, release, accept, or reclaim yourself." There is a great difference between remembering someone with love and being pulled back into an old wound. Love feels spacious. Attachment feels desperate. Love remembers without losing itself. Attachment remembers and becomes smaller. Love says, "I honor what this connection gave me." Attachment says, "I cannot be whole until this person returns, explains, apologizes, chooses me, or becomes who I needed them to be." And this is where the soul begins its deeper work. Because the person you cannot stop thinking about may be connected to a version of you that still needs compassion. The version of you that waited. The version that hoped. The version that ignored red flags. The version that loved with trembling hands. The version that did not know how to leave. The version that wanted closure from someone who did not know how to give it. You are not being haunted by them. You are being invited to return to yourself. If this is already helping you understand a connection you could never fully explain, subscribe to Starlit Union, because this space is for the souls who feel deeply, love deeply, and are finally ready to understand the hidden meaning behind what they feel. Now let us go deeper. Many people believe that when they think about someone again and again, it must be a sign that the other person is also thinking about them. And sometimes, life does surprise us in mysterious ways. You think of someone intensely, and suddenly they message you. You remember their name, and later that day someone mentions them. You dream of them, and then you see something connected to them everywhere. These moments can feel too precise to be random. Some call this synchronicity. Some call it energetic connection. Some call it the soul's language. The important thing is not to become trapped in proving what it means. The important thing is to ask, what is this moment awakening in me? Because even if the other person is not consciously aware of you, your inner reaction is still real. The emotion is real. The lesson is real. The invitation to understand yourself is real. And that is where your power lives. When someone keeps appearing in your thoughts, the question is not only, are they thinking of me? The deeper question is, what part of me becomes activated when I think of them? Do I become peaceful? Do I become anxious? Do I become hopeful? Do I become powerless? Do I become the old version of myself, waiting to be loved in the way I once needed? This question can reveal more than any message from them ever could. Because sometimes, closure does not come from another person. Sometimes closure comes from seeing the truth clearly enough that you no longer need the old story to change. You no longer need them to understand your pain before your pain becomes valid. You no longer need them to confess what they did before you are allowed to heal. You no longer need them to return before you remember your worth. This is one of the most difficult spiritual lessons, because the human heart loves completion. It wants the final conversation. It wants the apology. It wants the explanation. It wants the scene where everything finally makes sense. But the soul often learns a greater truth. Peace is not always found by receiving answers. Sometimes peace is found by releasing the demand for answers. And this does not mean you pretend nothing happened. It does not mean you call pain love. It does not mean you excuse behavior that broke your trust. It means you stop letting one chapter hold the pen for the rest of your life. Forgiveness, in its deepest form, is not about declaring that what happened was acceptable. Forgiveness is removing your spirit from the prison of repetition. It is saying, I will not let this memory control my nervous system forever. I will not let this person remain the center of my inner world. I will take the lesson, I will keep the wisdom, but I will not carry the weight as my identity. And when this begins to happen, the memory changes. At first, Their name may feel like a wound. Then slowly, it becomes a lesson. Then slowly, it becomes a chapter. Then one day, it becomes a quiet place inside you that no longer hurts to visit. This is how healing sounds. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is the simple moment when you think of them and realize you can still breathe. You can still smile. You can still return to yourself. The old pull is not as strong. The ache is not as sharp. The fantasy is not as convincing. The soul has begun to untie itself. There is another reason someone may stay in your mind, and it is one of the most beautiful ones. Gratitude. Not every recurring thought is pain. Sometimes a person returns to your awareness because they brought light into your life. Maybe they believed in you when you could not believe in yourself. Maybe they appeared during a difficult season. Maybe they showed you kindness when your heart was tired. Maybe they awakened creativity, tenderness, confidence, or faith. Maybe they were not meant to stay, but they were meant to remind you of something sacred. In these cases, the memory is not asking to be removed. It is asking to be blessed. You can say silently, "Thank you for what you gave me. Thank you for the part of my journey you touched. Thank you for the lesson, the love, the mirror, the awakening. I release the need to hold on to your form, but I keep the wisdom of what your presence brought into my life." This is how love becomes clean. This is how memory becomes light. But if the thought carries pain, then you must meet it differently. You must not romanticize what wounded you. You must not turn confusion into destiny simply because the connection was intense. Intensity is not always alignment. Chemistry is not always safety. Familiarity is not always love. Sometimes the soul repeats a person in your mind because it wants you to finally see the pattern, not repeat it. Ask yourself, did this connection teach me peace, or did it teach me how deeply I could abandon myself? Did I feel expanded, or did I feel constantly uncertain? Did I become more whole, or did I begin measuring my worth through their attention? These questions are not meant to make you bitter. They are meant to make you honest. Because honesty is the beginning of release. There are memories that keep circling because the soul is trying to complete an emotional cycle. The mind returns to the same person, the same conversation, the same ending, because the body still carries the feeling. The heart still asks, why did this happen? Why was I not enough? Why did they leave? Why did I stay? Why did I give so much? But the deeper answer may be this: it happened because some part of you was ready to awaken. Not ready for pain, no soul desires suffering, but ready to see what could no longer remain hidden. Ready to see the wound beneath the pattern. Ready to stop confusing longing with love. Ready to stop calling self-abandonment devotion. Ready to stop waiting outside the door of someone else's heart while your own heart was calling you home. This is why some people return to your mind right before you change. The old energy rises because it is leaving. The memory becomes loud because it wants to be seen one final time. The wound speaks because it is ready to close. And if you misunderstand this, you may think the past is calling you back. But sometimes, the past is only rising so you can finally say goodbye. There is a simple practice you can use when their memory appears. Do not chase it. Do not fight it. Place your hand over your heart, breathe slowly, and ask, what did I feel when this person came to mind? Then name it. If it is sadness, say, sadness is here. If it is love, say, love is here. If it is anger, say, anger is here. If it is longing, say, longing is here. When you name the emotion, you stop becoming it. You become the witness. And the witness is where freedom begins. Then ask, what does this feeling need from me? Sadness may need gentleness. Anger may need a boundary. Guilt may need forgiveness. Longing may need acceptance. Love may need gratitude. Fear may need reassurance. Every emotion is carrying a request. Every recurring thought is asking for a response from your higher awareness. And slowly, you will learn that you do not have to be controlled by every memory that visits you. You can welcome the message without reopening the wound. You can honor the connection without returning to the pattern. You can love someone at the soul level and still choose peace at the human level. That is spiritual maturity. It is not coldness. It is clarity. It is not forgetting. It is remembering without bleeding. It is not denial. It is freedom. Some people will always remain part of your inner story, not because you failed to move on, but because they helped shape who you became. The goal is not to erase every trace of them. The goal is to remove the pain from the trace, to turn the wound into wisdom, to turn the memory into meaning, to turn the attachment into light. And when you reach that place, you will understand something profound. You were not thinking of them because you were weak. You were thinking of them because your soul was trying to return you to yourself. The person was the doorway, but you are the destination. The memory was the signal, but your healing is the message. The connection was the mirror, but your awakening is the truth. So tonight, if there is someone you cannot stop thinking about, do not judge yourself. Sit with the memory gently. Ask what it came to teach you. Ask what part of you is still waiting to be held. Ask what lesson is ready to be received. Then breathe, and let your soul answer in its own time. You do not have to chase every person who enters your thoughts. You do not have to reopen every door that still has emotion behind it. You do not have to confuse spiritual connection with physical return. Sometimes the most sacred thing you can do is bless the bond, keep the lesson, and walk forward lighter. Send peace to the person. Send forgiveness where it is needed. Send gratitude where it is true. But most of all, send love back to yourself, the one who felt it all, survived it all, learned from it all, and is still becoming. Comment, I release the weight, if your soul is ready to stop carrying an old connection as pain. And if this message spoke to your heart, like this video, and subscribe to Starlit Union for more deep reflections on soul connections, spiritual awakening, emotional healing, and the hidden meaning behind the people who change us. May you keep the wisdom, release the ache, and remember, the connection that once confused you may have been guiding you back to your own light all along.